All right, about how long? About a month ago now? May. Okay, so back in May, there was a tornado in St. Louis that devastated the area, and it has not had any news coverage, greatly because, I mean, like, sadly, a lot of natural disasters, I have the pocket conspiracy theory that the media isn't covering natural disasters like they used to because there's so many because of global warming. They're treating natural disasters like they treat spree shootings because they don't want us to be engaged with how climate catastrophe is already starting to affect things. North Carolina last year got swept up very fast. Like, those people were in dire straits for months, and like nobody was talking about them. They were white. No, they were poor and white though, which is why they didn't give a fuck. So these black folks in St. Louis, situation not happening. So we're gonna watch this, if not just to comment and give some shine on it, because I'm not myself fully aware of this story.
Ends its track. By 2:43 p.m., the twister has grown to nearly a mile wide. Businesses near North Kings Highway Boulevard and Del Mar taking a direct hit.
Dozens more injured after a tornado swept through St. Louis.
Rescue crews trying to save a man trapped in the basement.
The city admits the sirens did not sound.
About 5,000 properties were hit by the storm. A little girl tell her mom, "Mom, I want to go home." And the mom responded, "We don't have a home."
St. Louis has recently become an epicenter of the global climate collapse. The once-in-a-century tornado struck, inciting mass destruction and transforming this bustling black city into a real-life war zone.
A little bit, we on Marcus and Dr. Martin Luther King right now.
I know you're scared. Come here, baby. Hi. Oh my God.
Just a bad day all around. These people went through a lot.
Winds screamed at 152 miles per hour, carving a 23-mile scar across the city, shredding more than 5,000 structures, flattening entire blocks, and killing a still unconfirmed number of mostly black elders, and hundreds more people were displaced. The funnel followed the color line, obliterating predominantly black neighborhoods that the city had already starved for a century. In the immediate aftermath, there was local news coverage.
Do y'all understand how powerful a tornado has to be? And how, like when they say it once in a century, that's real. Right. Only says the footage of the tornado moving isn't edited. It was moving that fast. That's wild. For a tornado to be moving that fast, that big, is nuts. St. Louis used to be the biggest, most significant city in the world. Like, St. Louis was a shipping capital. I can go back. I talked about in the old video, the race riots of St. Louis, right? The Olympics in 1904. This was not like a little small town. So for a tornado to hit directly, tornadoes don't often hit like population centers. I don't know why that is. They just doesn't.
We're also here because we want to show the resilience of the community. Neighbors are coming together to help their neighbors. Community organizations are doing food drives, but the reality is it isn't sustainable. And so we're also here to help provide more money, more food, more clothes, whatever the community needs to make sure that they're cared for.
I am a trauma surgeon by training, and I now practice community health full-time. Community health is not a medical practice that you would necessarily associate with trauma surgery, but I came to the realization in my advanced academic trauma practice that I could stitch people up with gold, but it was up to them and the surroundings around them that would determine their healing. And I desired to bring resource for healing outside the walls of the hospital.
So I wanted to talk about what he was just talking about, community health. So dude said he was a trauma surgeon. And to put it very bluntly and to in some ways distort his work, that means he's probably the type of surgeon that's on call to treat bullet wounds, accidental trauma, to treat street violence trauma, etc. But what he gets at there is the major key, which is if you are actually trying to stop the need for trauma surgeons to be on call in a city center, in a black neighborhood, etc., then you need to do community health, because gun violence and street violence and property crime and all the things that might lead to the necessity of a trauma surgeon, all of that can be alleviated 5-10 steps ahead of the situation by better education, by better diet, better nutrition in the community.
When the tornado ripped across St. Louis and I saw the pathway, it literally looked to me like a gash, like a bullet wound, like an explosive force that was airborne that tore through the heart of St. Louis. And I realized that it was almost like 5,000 people got shot in one day.
And in the case of this tornado in St. Louis, while families went days without food sources, clean water, or safe shelter, the police weren't deployed to assist with recovery. Instead, they were sent to stand guard literally outside of Aldi and other grocery stores to protect the buildings that stock the food rather than the people starving outside of them. To gain more insight into how climate catastrophe feeds into mass criminalization of poor and Black people, we spoke to a veteran of the Ferguson uprisings.
So my name is Mike Milton. I'm the executive director and founder of Freedom Community Center. The first thing that the mayor did was put out a 9 p.m. curfew. And then the first couple weeks, there was police just going down the streets, terrorizing these neighborhoods. There were so many people who were locked up, newly locked up for one ICE, like ICE had picked up, that was clear. Which another thing on that is that a lot of the people who were doing the roofing and the housing now are afraid to show up to these sites because of ICE. So it's impacting their little economic mobility, right?
No one was hit harder than the elders and the disabled. These were.
And yeah, this is the they're alluding to it, but this is by design. This is all big beautiful bill shit. Like there is a reason why they've taken as many resources as they can out of social services and put them into basically criminalizing being poor. This is neoliberal fascism. If you want to use a pretty solid definition of what neoliberal fascism is, because some people struggle with putting neoliberal and fascism together. When I think of neoliberal fascism, when I want to define neoliberal fascism, what it is, because fascism at its core, pretty much any definition of fascism is going to be power and government setting up an us versus them framework and institutionalizing it and systematizing it, right? And under neoliberal fascism, the us is and them is the poor and the non-poor. Like this is they're preparing us for Judge Dredd. All these Cybertrucks are gonna be Judge Dredd cars. I give it 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like people only think fascism is Hitler, but that's not really, like, there are so many other forms of it. Mandela Man makes the point, I feel like we've been just stuck in the same cycles of colonialism appears in the last 600 years, just with different names like liberalism and fascism. And one thing I do want to put as we watch something that is very heavy is, as I joke, right? I do that because I'm not doom repealed on the situation we're in right now. Every empire has fallen. Every fascist state has crumbled over time. We are not resigned to this fate. Like at the end of this video, I'm sure there's going to be opportunity to contribute to what they're doing and to hopefully bring more awareness to it. That is fundamentally useful.
I just want to make it extremely clear that if it was not for nonprofit organizations and everyday people like Ungun, Invest STL, For the Ville, Action St. Louis, For the Culture STL, the groups at the Save a Lot parking lot, and all the other emergency hubs, assistant help that has been stepping up, the city would be failing.
What she just said there is really important, and it's like really what informs my ethos, and also probably the main thing these days that brings me under criticism. She just named like 7 different organizations, right? Now, no shade. How many of y'all think that all those organizations are principled communist organizations in St. Louis? How many of those nonprofits do you think are truly principled, perfect politics? What is the actual number? Only I'm curious. 1. And shout out to that 1. I'm not saying that to disrespect the principled political actors who are also in the real world organizing. But boy, And I know I ran about this a lot because they've been on my head since I hit a million. I swear to God, the online leftists, not the leftists online, but the online leftists do not understand that when shit hits the fan, when it's time to do stuff like this, nobody cares how much Hegel you've read. Your ability to quote Hegelian, what the fuck was Hegelian? What was Hegel's thing? I'm fucking it up because I ain't never read the bitch. Dialectics. My point is, nobody cares about that shit when we trying to feed old people in the community.
Yeah, I mean, the first couple of weeks, it was like this back and forth about whether a siren was made. It turns out that it was not. They never notified people of that this tornado was coming. The city government forgot to notify people that this tornado was coming. And literally the blood is on their hands for that. Then when we see somebody like Kara Spencer, who is now our mayor, walk around like she's building this empire to support and help Black people, when she has $300 million right now of unrestricted funds, RAM settlement money that it can go to Black and poor communities, we see the same cycle of harm by people who are system actors like the mayor.
Another reason why this probably isn't getting attention that just hit me is that this is a dangerous image to show oppressed people right now. Y'all see where I'm going with this? If they're showing how through community organizing and people-centered political action that they are taking care of themselves without the assistance and approval of the state, that would be incredibly dangerous. Yeah, only it gives people the roadmap. Because one of the biggest problems is that people don't understand, they don't understand power to the people, not as a cool phrase, but as a genuinely powerful framework for resistance and struggle. And so if they say, look, a handful of community organizations came together and are taking care of the community's needs without the state, while the mayor is sitting on $300 million, with the police being antagonistic and not helping at all, that's dangerous to show people.
Scientists say that Tornado Alley, just like many other emergency climate disasters, is on the move. And what flattened Fountain Park in St. Louis could flatten Kansas City or Philadelphia next.
People recognizing that you can say whatever you want to say, but it's what you do in the moment. And I think that's the hope. I think nonprofit structures, government administrations, and any capitalistic endeavor is going to fail us right now. So we have to make the radical decision that people are worthy, and we have to decide to show up. And I just see so many people so afraid of losing what they have inside a system that doesn't care about them. But I've also been so amazed by how many people the people we're out with right now who are like, no, actually, this is important. I want to do it. I want to be here, and I want to show up to it. So I think the hope is it comes from my Freirean philosophy, Paulo Freire, and the pedagogy of the oppressed, which is the power of oppression lies in the oppressed. All we have to do is just say enough and just decide something radically different is possible.
So yeah, that was dope. That was dope. Appreciate you bringing that to my attention, Oni, because I don't know about y'all, but that's kind of like, I love that video right now. I legit have goosebumps. I don't know if you can see them, but I legit have goosebumps because there's a lot of fuckery going on in the world right now. There is. I came away from that not feeling hopeless, but hopeful. Because that centered not on the devastation of what happened, but on how the people are responding to it and winning. And we don't do enough of that online. We're not doing enough focusing on what youth resistance looks like. We're not engaging with how people respond to the situations that we are talking about destroying us. And so that was a really powerful video that helps engage with that.